Jeff, you guys are a massive favorite this week. Do you have to work a little extra harder to prevent any, mind slippage, or for lack of better words?
Well, it's easy because we were a 42-point favorite versus Texas Southern. It was 21-17 at halftime. And that week I heard Coach Saban say, either the guys that make those point spreads are really, really off, or the team that has the huge favored advantage listens to it and it affects their preparation. Either way, something was wrong when it doesn't go that way. So I think that's a pretty good analogy that Coach Saban used, and we've already learned from it just because of how well Texas Southern played. I don't want to take anything away from them, but how we did not perform up to our standard either.
What are some of the things that FIU does well?
Quarterback is a good football player. He can run around. He's from Texas. I'm sure he'll be excited to play us. He's from Duncanville. They've got two running backs that are really good. They've got a receiver that we recruited, and the Chambers kid's really good. He's one of the leading receivers in the country last year, putting up numbers this year. Defensively, it's a defense that's very similar to ours. Schematically, Coach McIntyre was the DC, at Memphis, and we played them, and he knows our offense very well. And they've got good players, a lot of players from the state of Florida. And I just was talking to our kids, about that. We're always arguing over Texas players better, Florida players better, Cali players, Georgia, and they've got good players. If you're in that talk, obviously your state's very talent deep, which they are. Kicker kicks the ball very well, kicks it in the end zone most of the time, and they're well coached. They've not won as much, I think they're 2-3, but they've played good football.
Jeff, what has it meant for the offense to get Traylor Smith back on the field after he missed a little bit of time?
He's just not well still, so he's still making plays, but he's not as sharp as I want him to be. I feel bad for him. He's pushing through, not being able to practice very much, but he's been playing football for a long time, and we trust him. He's a playmaker, and if we can get him to the bye week, give him some time off, I think you'll really see an unbelievable stretch out of him in the end.
How has he responded to those challenges mentally? Because I know he came here with the intention of being a stand-up guy and putting up a lot of numbers.
Yeah, he's frustrated, like a lot of those guys are, just because of the injury situation. But it is what it is, and he's made some unbelievable plays the last couple of weeks to get us off to a 2-0 start in conference and give Brendan, some break.
It was interesting on Saturday that you sent the 3 interior offensive line starters out there as captains for your group. What does that say? Was there a message being sent there? What does that mean for you guys?
It was, we just knew we were going to have to run the ball well, and we thought it's the first time we've really had, we were very impressed how well Bentley played. We thought we have a real left tackle, and then we were getting Mackay back. Nothing against Frankie at all, but we had originally planned that being Payne Abear on the left and Meach on the left, and then Bentley played so well, we were not missing a beat over there. And so we just thought we had finally, arrived a little bit, and and it was their turn. They're all single-digit guys, and all the other single-digit guys had already gone. So I try to get every single-digit guy to be a captain during the season, and once we get through them all, we'll go with the guys we decide to roll with the rest of the year.
Jeff, when do you guys decide on the travel squad during, I guess, a short week like this? Is it expedited a little?
No, it's the exact same, because today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Even though it's Tuesday. But yes, on a real calendar, it's expedited, but in our mind, this week, today is Wednesday, so I have my radio show tonight. No, I don't. Yeah. See, that's the thing that just drives you nuts, right? Because the radio show doesn't adjust. So today will be that day where we pick the 70. Because if you haven't practiced so far this week, you got to make a real decision on if you're going to. He'd have to be a veteran guy that's played a lot of ball for us to take him on the trip to make a game time decision.
Jeff, what's been your assessment of how Clifford Chapman has performed his first real season, getting starter level snaps week after week?
Yeah, I think Cliff's a really good football player. He had a missed tackle last week he feels terrible about, but he doesn't miss many. I mean, he's a ball-seeking, physical player. I'm really happy. There's a good example of frustration last year. We all kind of forget about it because of the wonderful season, right? There was a lot of frustration last year too. I just think back to Illinois where we had Maka and Mackay down, right off the jump street, right? And I think of Cliff, who was playing so good last year and then broke his hand, had to have surgery and got a year back for it, and now he's benefiting from that. So we're hoping with some of these injuries we've had that have been, season ending, we can win on those medical appeals and maybe get some of these kids back next year that we were not counting on having back.
We were talking about Cliff more as a coverage player coming into the year, but he was through the first few weeks kind of leading your team in tackles and seemed to have a real nose for the ball. How do you describe how he approaches that part of the game?
He's a veteran. You can tell he's played a lot of football. He can just see things, and he goes, man. He's physical when he gets there. So, really good player, and really glad Cliff chose to come play for us. That was a big gift for us.
Jeff, at the midway point of the season here, what concerns you the most headed through the rest of the season? Is it the injuries?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's just our health. That's it. If we had our O-line depth and our D-line depth, I would say we're fixing to go on a tear right now, but we don't. So it's going to be a lot of close games like they have been all year, and we just got to find a way. We just got to keep finding a way. There's still a lot of other players out there that are healthy. We've just been hit, with 5 offensive tackles, which is amazing. Just to think of it, just to say that number. And when I look at the injury report, and it goes by position, and you see 6 O-linemen and 5 of them are tackles. That's just crazy.
On the flip side of that, what are you, I guess, most optimistic about at this point of the season?
Just our culture. Our kids, man, they're made to be successful in life. They get it, man. They know what it's about. They fight. They hang in there together. They're about the right stuff, man. When you're about the right stuff in life, life's hard. And our guys are about the right stuff. No matter what happens to them, they're about the right stuff.
Jeff, what's Nick Fortune brought for you guys his first year in the program?
Another guy that's very similar to Cliff in the sense he's played big time, played a lot of big football, big games, big crowd, so the moment's never too big for him. And he missed a tackle Saturday. He's sick about, as well. But they're both high character kids. They love being here. They love our culture. And I'm a huge Nick Fortune fan, as I am Cliff. He has depth. He really likes. He takes notes on everything I talk about, whatever quote it might be, or culture pill of the week. Cliff's off. Nick is all in, as is Cliff. They're both very similar.
We spent a lot of time last week, obviously, talking about the tackling. How did you grade how you guys performed in that aspect in this game?
We probably missed more than even we have been, what we considered, but we think that 7-4 are really special. They some of that you're just like, well, I think most of our guys have missed that tackle. But man, I thought Rashad really stood out as far as tackling in space really well. We ran the ball well now. We got some people down after we missed them. We were not pleased, obviously, but we do think 7-4 are really good.
Jeff, I think yesterday you talked about turnovers, and it's one of the areas. How do you guys improve on that? Is it just the way the game flows, or is there things you could do?
Yeah, it's a great question that we all talk about. I gave you the dang great question, Bill. We all talk about it.
Yeah.
And I wish I had that answer for you. And I know everybody's going to say do more ball stripping, more tackling. We've done the same drills. It's some of it is just opportunity. Like, for example, when Chris Carpenter fumbled, that guy did an unbelievable job putting his face mask right on the football. I don't care what ball security drill you do, when someone puts their face mask on the football, full speed, that thing's coming out, right? So what can you do to duplicate that and replicate that in practice as much as possible on both sides? It's a fine line. And I know we've been doing a lot of wet ball drill this week, just anticipating some weather down there.
And the interceptions, it just seems like that's been bad luck, right? There's been a few that have been right there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We were on a roll last year early, where we snagging all those things. At the end of the year, it kind of went away, and I'm hoping this year it's going to flip.
But people want those interceptions. But if you think about it, like Rashad's interception late at the game, don't you want him not to get that? Because it was on a 4th down, and it was like, look at where the ball placement would have been had he intercepted it as opposed to not getting that interception.
Yeah, I'd like to tell you that we told him to do that, but he just dropped it. So, yeah, that was a good drop. You're exactly right.
Jeff, you guys got Tyke Ogakala involved in the offense last week. What did he do to kind of carve out a little bit of a role?
It's always the same with Tyke. It's never on the field with Tyke. He's a really good football player. It's always off the field. It's just, it's just maturity issues. Just a young man. He's a good kid, and some people might call it petty, how I am about that stuff. But study hall matters. Tutorials matters. Being on time matters. And I think that has a lot to do with winning close ball games. And I know people perceive me probably as a real loose coach because I'm so good with my kids and our relationships. But when it comes to like what we're expected to do, we just don't budge. I mean, it's, on time is late, early's on time. I mean, so it might sound petty, but to us it's a big deal.
It can't be easy for him to be in a group with 3 super talented guys in front of him, and snaps probably hard to come by. How's he handled sort of the challenge of being in that kind of environment?
He's super talented, just like they are. He has everything those kids have. It's literally just the maturity deal. That's it. When he does that, you'll see him put up the same stats as those other 3 do.
You have a plan for backup tackle if the worst happens this week?
Trying to speak that into existence, JJ. We do have a plan.
Yeah.
We've still got those 2 freshmen that are repping a lot, and it's just a matter of when you want to put them out there. And at some point, we're going to have to let DeAndre and Ben go. And so we'll see what happens this week. If Vinley can go, he'll be out there. If he can't, we've got a plan. If he can, we've got a plan. So at some point, you'd like to think we're going to get some of these guys back, and we'll have some depth.
Did you have Walker Beatty over there on the depth chart at tackle? Is that different from when he was at guard?
We've moved him around a lot of spots. Walker's very talented. It's just a matter of learning it. He's only been over here now. It's been 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah. So he's getting it, but it just takes a little time. There's a lot going on up there.
All right.
Thank you,
Chef. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.